So you had a fluency in the beginning. Did you do martial arts? Because we're going to get to that. When you were a kid?
Did I practice? Yeah, I practiced in jiu-jitsu and some hand-to-hand, but I was never competitive. I was never any good. But I did in my early 30s. I was one of the first managers for the mixed martial arts world. So I was actually the first manager on scene for the UFC, and I knew it was coming because I was a huge fan. And then when I went ahead and met my former client, whose name is Mark Kerr, the Smashing Machine, and I got brought over to Japan and then Abu Dhabi, I then realized this sport was going to be bigger than anything else on the planet. And I've always kind of been involved with anything that is disrupting. If there's a disruption that happens, I'm somehow find myself in the middle of it. I wish I could say partially, but somehow I find myself going all the way inside of everything. So speaking of which, I was an entrepreneur back in high school, and then I went to USC entrepreneurship, and then during that time, Michael, I started a teen dance club called Spiral West, where I basically took all the teenagers from driving around, hanging out at the local 7-Eleven, smoking cigarettes and drinking, and I put them inside of my club. Well, I got recognition. I got sponsored by Adidas and New York Seltzer, and it was pretty good cash business back then, but there's no social media. I just did flyers, and I probably was doing, the club held 185 kids at one time in one capacity. My club opened up at 8 o'clock on a Sunday night, and my parents all doubted me. My dad, who's a doctor, says, "What are you doing? This is crazy. You're taking your bar mitzvah money, you're running out of space." Well, my grandparents show up, my mom shows up, and here I am, and I'm inside the club. My dad comes running up to me as I'm getting everything set up, all the DJ equipment and everything up, smoke machines, and my dad goes, "Sean, we have a problem." I'm like, "What's the problem?" He goes, "There's 400 people in line." I said, "What?" It was only 7:30. The doors hadn't opened up till 8, and I already had about 400. I was twice over capacity, and this happened because word of mouth and flyers.
Right.
And I got the first real taste of success, and then from there, I just kind of found my way going. Being an entrepreneur is really my way of doing things, and from that moment in time, at 21 or 22, I then tried to open up 21 and over clubs. I got involved in the restaurant business as we had mutual friends who've been involved, and then got involved with the film business. By 25, I produced, I think, 4 feature films. And growing up in LA, you kind of dabble in just everything.
Right. Especially the routes that you and I both take the same route: nightclubs and film and entertainment.
My first film was my own. I've been on student set. I was like, I'm walking around, I'm like, I have fun in this thing. I'm sitting in the middle of Louisiana or wherever I was going, why are all these people here? Where do they all come from? I quickly had to learn how to make a movie, from pre-production to production to post-production.
Right.
And I didn't go to school for that. I went to school for entrepreneurship. All my friends were the artists and the worker bees. Well, we're all working together, but I quickly learned at a young age, and then got married. And then I had 2 daughters. They're now 14 and 11, and I love them. But it's tough. It's tough to be a dad for teenage girls at this moment. I love them with everything I have. And then I got involved with 2 companies that took me down to San Diego. One was Greenhouse Energy, which basically we were going to people's homes and making them more LEED certified and reducing the electrical output and trying to get more sustainable and take them off the grid. We would come with all these new devices, from solar to doing whatever it was. And at that time, because the military was in San Diego, we started doing not residential, but we started doing military contract work as well. And one of my first investors was actually Shaquille O'Neal, because I was taking that company public. And my banker calls me up one day and says, "I'm going to have Shaq call you." So I answer the phone one day and I hear, "Is this Sean Entin?" And I'm like, "Yeah." I'm like, "Who's this?" He goes, "This is Shaquille O'Neal." I'm like, "Bullshit." And sure enough, it was Shaq. And he goes, "I want to make an investment." And that all happened. So that staged a whole nother development of my eyes, because I wanted to be, I was the CMO for my business, the chief marketing officer. I never wanted to be the lead man, never wanted to be the forefront speaker for anything in my life. Grew up as a stutterer as a kid.